Hello, fellow Walking Dead fans. Solid Dave Snake back here one last time to wrap up my reviews for the Walking Dead Comics Series 5 action figures by McFarlane Toys. And the figure that we're wrapping it up with is Lydia. And she is a newer character from the comics, part of that New Beginning storyline, and will fit in nicely with a lot of those characters that have been released after that 2-year time skip after All Out War. So I'm really happy to get her and really look forward to a New Beginning Carl now that we have Lydia. With her being released, you know he's got to be coming soon. And she is in the running Heads on a Spike theme here in Series 5. I call it Build Your Own Diorama. And this is the best head of the lot. King Ezekiel. This, of course, was the biggest death from issue 144 when revealed, and is the centerpiece of this series for the Heads on the Spikes. And we have got a figure of Ezekiel in the past, and of course it is a totally new head sculpt. Zombified, and his dreads flowing in the wind. Really look good. Got a hair stuck in there. It is actually stuck in the plastic. That must be a worker's hair from China. Oh man, what a great head sculpt though. Great detail overall, excellent paint job. I really like how they did his beard and the blue of his eyes. That looks really good. And with the feathers on the back of the dreads. They put a lot of detail to make it look like there is each individual feather on that piece. And of course, there is gory detail where the head was severed and blood dripping down the spike like in all of them. And of course, be careful with the stick here because it is fragile, and the unique base. And I showed it off at the beginning of my preview for this series, but I'll do it one last time since this is the final review, and we'll put all the heads together because they do intersect. The Kenny will intersect into the Ezekiel. Just like that. Rosita will be the first one on the left, and Ezekiel will be the last. So that is pretty darn cool. Let me get Lydia actually out of here for a second. That looks great. So, great final headpiece for that running change in this series. And Lydia does come with a Whisperer mass head sculpt, which looks fantastic. You can see the pinks of her lip underneath the mask and her eyes. Looks very dirty and just deteriorated. And even the top of the head is bald. You can see where the hair starts all around. One bang coming down. See her ear poking through there. And the only negative thing I have to say about this swappable Whisperer head is that the stitching isn't clearly seen on the back of this. With Alpha, it was. Let me pull the Alpha Whisperer head on there and show you the difference. So it's not pronounced at all, and there's no paint detail to show it like there is with Alpha. So that is a little bit of a letdown. But to swap heads, it's very easy. Just pop the old one off and pop the new one on. Now, one thing about this Whisperer head is it doesn't seem to want to go down as far as her normal head sculpt. If you can see, there's a gap in there. I don't know, it's awful dark. I don't know if you can see it. But it doesn't seem like as much as I push that it wants to go down any further. So it really should cover up that exposed area on the neck. And back there as well. So it doesn't fit on as well as the other head, but still an awesome accessory. And we'll put our normal head back on. And you can see that does fit flush. And the last accessory she comes with is this little knife. Almost looks like a kitchen knife. And of course this is what she had whenever Jesus came across her Whisperer group. This is the weapon that she was fighting with, and the only weapon I've ever seen her use in the comic book. So that's perfect that they gave this to her. So only 3 accessories, but the 3 accessories she comes with are perfect. There's really nothing else they could have gave her. She comes with the best head on a spike, and of course the alternate head in this kitchen knife. So only 3, but they're all great accessories. So for accessories, I'm going to give her a 9 out of 10. And now let's take a look at her overall sculpt and paint from head to toe. And this normal head for Lydia here is flawless. It is possibly one of the best head sculpts and paint jobs for any of these Walking Dead comic series action figures that I've seen. Amazing job with the hair. Looks great on the back. Coming down on her left side, you can see her ear exposed a little bit there. And that was one of the neat things whenever this was revealed and they took off her Whisperer mask whenever they captured her, is that she was only a 17-year-old girl underneath. And wow, I'm just blown away. This head sculpt might be the best in the well, it is the best in the series. It's great. This one and the Shane. Well, the Negan ones, they're all great. They're all great, but this may be my favorite head sculpt. And her overall body has that worn, weathered look to the clothing. And one thing I noticed about this shirt is there are pink hues to it, almost like a pink wash instead of a black wash has been done. You can see it in the cracks here. Almost like this was meant to originally be a pink shirt and has just got so dirty over time. So that's a really neat touch. I like that a lot. And there are little tears all throughout. Bigger one down below here. The folds and wrinkles really look natural in her clothing. Of course, she has the gloves on. And even down on her jeans, there's just excellent detail all around. A little bit of patchwork there. Pockets look great in the back. Minus those pegs from the articulation there. And I really like her boots. They made them look dirty, and I like the color variation between the brown and black on the tips. And even give her tread on the bottom. So excellent attention to detail. Overall, this sculpt is perfect. I have 0 complaints with it. A 10 out of 10 in the sculpt. And the paint, I mean, really there's just a couple missing things like painted shoelaces and the laces on the back of the alternative head. But besides that, it's near perfect. And I really love that pink wash they gave to the shirt. So I'm going to give her a 9 out of 10 for the paint. Just a phenomenal job overall. However, in the articulation, she is not as good as the Shane or Glenn, and kind of right around the articulation for the Negan. Worse in some spots and better in others, but the way that her head is, the way that they have that interchanging function, you can only twist it from side to side. It's not on a ball joint, it's just on that peg. if I take it off again and show you. So you can only get the swivel out of it, and you're only going to get as far as the hair on the back of her head will allow, that's about it. And the other head, once you put it on, you can't move it at all. So just going off of this head, you can only go side to side. And at the shoulder, she is on a ball joint and hinge, which will go almost up to 90 degrees and rotate all the way around. Single hinge on the elbows, which will go this far up to 90 degrees and back, so that's good there. And on the wrist, we can swivel all the way around and hinge that far down and that far up, so not too much movement there. And she does have a waist cut, however it is restricted a good bit. That's about as far as you're going to get it to the right and about as far as you're going to get it to the left. And she will kick all the way out and kick almost up to 90 degrees, pretty far, and that far back. And at the knees, she won't go up to 90 degrees. She'll only go up that far. So a little lackluster there, but you can rotate it all the way around. And she has the ball joint at the feet, which you can get full rotation out of and hinge a little bit up and down. A little different on both sides, just depending on how the cuffs of the pants are on each one is how far it'll allow you to move. So a little lackluster on the articulation. I'm going to have to give it a 7 out of 10 for the articulation. She does have a couple spots that move really good in the hands and the elbows, really. But overall, for presentation, I think this Lydia is great. And whenever she's put with her new beginning characters, she will really fill out a diorama or shelf. And let's just start pulling out some of these new beginning characters that have appeared in action figure form. Of course, have to put her mother out there, the one responsible for all the heads on the spikes. And she looks great with Alpha. Her first meeting was with our survivors, was with Jesus here. So we'll stick Jesus up there. And we have the new beginning Rick Grimes. And Prisoner Negan. We'll stick him up in front since he's from this series. So for overall presentation, I'm going to have to give her a 9 out of 10. Once Carl comes out, she'll look really good with a new beginning Carl. So the breakdown is for accessories, 9 out of 10. Sculpt, 10 out of 10. Paint, 9 out of 10. Articulation, 7 out of 10. And overall presentation, 9 out of 10 for a total score of 44 out of 100. And surprisingly, that is the highest score out of all the figures I reviewed in this series. Shane was the second highest scoring, although he is still my favorite figure from this series, with coming in at 43 out of 50. Prisoner Negan came in at 41 out of 50. And then we have, where did I stick Glenn at? We got Glenn coming in at 40 out of 50. So overall, this was an amazing series. And for fans of the comic books, I have to highly recommend picking this whole series up. As far as Lydia herself, if you have a lot of these new beginning characters, then she gets a high recommendation from me, or especially if you're a big fan of the character. So, alright everyone, I hope you enjoyed all these Walking Dead Comics Series 5 reviews, and stay tuned because I will be doing some up-and-coming new reviews on the Walking Dead TV series action figures, and let's see, we have new color tops coming out too if you're interested in those. So, alright everyone, I'll catch you later.